This is what summer lighting does to turkey neck on camera. And this is what the right neckline does about it. Today, I'm showing you 5 of them, plus one handy makeup trick that will have you looking polished and camera ready all summer long, and make you forget the word turkey even exists, at least until Thanksgiving. Well, welcome back to my channel. I'm Julie Hansen, and I help women over 50 look and feel more confident on camera. If you're ready to look more polished and put together on screen, hit subscribe and let's do this together. So last year, I gave you my full turkey neck survival guide. Lighting, camera angles, the pane of glass technique. And if you want to review that, the link is in the description. However, there was one tip that I need to take back, and that is the turtleneck. Great advice in February. Terrible advice when it's 95 degrees out and you're sweating through your mock neck like you're sitting in a sauna. So here's the cruel truth about summer. Turkey neck is actually worse during the warmer months, particularly on camera. And here's why. Even if you use sunscreen religiously, you're going to get a little bit of color on your face and your chest, particularly during the warmer months. Whereas your neck stays pretty well protected throughout the year, whether it's from your chin shading it or scarves or necklines and collars. So what you have is a nicely glowing face and décolletage, and your neck looks like it belongs on a different person. Now, if you watched my recent video on using texture on camera, you already know that texture creates light and shadow, which looks great on outfits when you're on camera, but has the opposite effect when it comes to skin. Those folds and wrinkles in your neck, they create light and shadows, and the camera picks that up and it amplifies it. Then we add a ring light and we sit about, 18 inches away from the camera in sort of a medium close-up, and suddenly every line, every wrinkle is lit up like a Christmas tree bulb. Summer doesn't just not help turkey neck, it actively makes it worse. But here's the beauty of necklines. They're basically stagecraft. Where the neckline sits, how it frames your face, where the eyes land first, these are all within your control. So the right neckline can certainly hide some problem areas for you, but it can also direct our audience's attention, lifting their focus up to your face and away from your neck without an inch of coverage on your neck. So let's get into the 5 looks that work with the summer heat and your lighting and not against it. Okay, we're going to start off with this choker neckline from designer Acris Punto because it's one of my favorite necklines for style and for hiding any neck issues. Now, some call this the high-low neckline. I call it double framing magic because you're basically getting 2 necklines for the price of 1. So this choker neckline gives sufficient coverage, while this keyhole opening looks very fashion forward as opposed to, I'm trying to hide something or distract you. And you can see the real stagecraft in this blouse. The choker neckline draws the attention upwards towards your face. The keyhole neckline draws the eyes downward. Your neck, it's not even in the picture. What you want to look for is a choker that fits snugly, obviously not too tight, but not so loose that that slides down, and a keyhole that is a good professional depth. Next up, the Mandarin Collar. This subtly sophisticated style looks like you chose it for the design, not the coverage, even though it works absolutely beautifully on both. So a Mandarin collar is basically a stand-up collar that's a little shorter than the typical stand-up collar, and it provides good coverage on the sides of your neck. And I think because of the visual interest on this one with the butterfly closures and the neckline, it still draws the attention upwards. It's got a nice structured fit, and I just think it's a very sophisticated, chic look that doesn't look, again, like you're trying to hide something. So what you want to look for is a Mandarin collar that has About an inch is a good height for this. If you can get higher, that's great. It typically stays up pretty well by itself because it's usually in a stretchy fabric. Try to avoid things that are very silky that can, again, start to kind of drop down. Now, equestrian wear is probably not the first place you'd think to look for stylish business wear that also solves neck issues. But like this one I found on Amazon, they often have interesting stand collars that stay in place. Much like the Mandarin Collar, they don't provide full coverage, but just enough to reduce the impact of those lower necklines. Okay, before we go into the next neckline that reduces some of these signs of an aging or sagging neckline, let's look at that makeup trick I promised you. So you can see that, as I talked about earlier, how much lighter my neck is underneath my chin. So it really draws some light and shadows on those folds and creases that draws your attention. So the first thing we want to do is even out that skin tone from your face to your neckline. So you want to take your foundation and just get a good amount in your palm here. And what we want to do is just sort of lightly bring things down from our face to our neckline. So we're just trying to sort of, again, even things out between the two different parts of our body here. Okay, so once you get that nicely smoothed in, that should give you a little better base, but likely you've got still a very light spot where the sun don't shine. So we may have to get a little darker foundation. And you don't want to go too heavy with this right away because then it can sort of start to look a little costumey. Mix that in good on your brush. And then just sort of pat that into the areas where it really is the palest. Let's see, sort of bringing a little more color into the whitest part of my neck here. There you go. Bring it down a little bit because my chest has a good amount of sun on it. Okay. So you can see it's a fairly simple process to reduce that contrast between the shade of your face and your chest, and then that part of your neck that just doesn't get any light until that camera or your lighting shines right on it. So you can see the difference here in these two pictures. Try that out. It's not a huge dramatic change, but it's just enough to sort of even things out and not draw more attention to your neck than you want to. If you want the complete coverage that turtleneck provides, this is your ticket. A high stand collar that sits just below your chin and has some design elements to make it look more like a style choice than a trick. This sleeveless mock neck halter from Amazon is a great example. It has the nice ruffled neckline with the stand collar, and it comes in 10 colors, so you can easily find one that works best with your complexion, and it looks sophisticated and chic. So what you want to look for in a stand collar is something in a fabric that's substantial enough to hold it in place, or it can be a lighter fabric if it has some kind of ribbing underneath it. So full disclosure, this one did not fit just like this out of the box. So let me show you what I had to do to give it a good snug fit to cover my neck. So here's how it looks just buttoned where the one button is placed in back. And you can imagine they leave enough room so it fits a number of different body types. So all you have to do is sort of fold it over and using a safety pin or a little clip, keep it in place and find a nice snug level that works for you. Now, this is often a big problem with slinky fabrics, silks, and softer fabrics that tend to slide down if they're not, again, substantial enough to hold that weight. Lastly, we have the infamous bow tie blouse. Now, just like me, bow tie blouses may bring back a very specific, outdated corporate 80s vibe. However, just like us, they have evolved some. Like some of the other looks, a strategically placed bow can provide partial to full coverage and read more stylish than mere camouflage. The key word being strategic. You're looking for a bow that sits high on your neck and stays there. However, most bow tie blouses have small bows in a silky or slinky fabric that tends to droop down and slide down your neck. Unless, of course, you pin it, like I did in the last top, and I did with this one as well. So what you want to look for in a bow tie blouse is something in a heavier, more structured fabric that stays in place and covers more of your neck, like this one. Now, more substantial fabric often means a larger bow, which is actually a plus because it's more modern and interesting than its skinny 80s counterpart. So, 5 styles, 1 goal, making sure you are in the spotlight this summer and fall, not your turkey neck. So, whether you go for the drama of the choker, the polish of the mandarin, the softness of the bow, the full coverage of a stand collar, or the unexpected brilliance of the equestrian style, you now have options. So now I want to hear from you. Which style are you going to try? Or which one's already working for you on camera? Tell me about it in the comments. And also in the comments, be sure to grab the link to get your free virtual style guide to stay confident and stylish on camera all year long. Thanks, and I'll see you on the next video.